The thing about you is you always want to know what's going to happen. You do, don't you? In this video, I'm going to teach you why it's so important to recognize this about yourself and redefine the unknown for you. In this video, I want to communicate how this very tendency of yours holds the key to your success in life. Let me start by defining the unknown. The unknown is not your adversary. The unknown is the universe. Woo, woo. The universe, quantum. The potential, positive, negative, and neutral of everything that can happen to you. It is also, if we live in a simulation, everything simulated, the entire matrix. And of course, we cannot know who created it. As someone once said, I believe in the Big Bang. God said bang, and it was. Who said bang? Also unknown. Even if you believe in God like I do, you believe in the mystery. O magnum mysterium. How you interpret that mystery does not change that there is much you can't know or can't know yet. All of these, the cosmic and the personal, the vast and the immediate, are the same thing, the unknown. I want you to think about your most painful moments in life, and even just those that produced the most fear, anxiety, agitation, uncertainty, or discomfort. A breakup, a job loss, a death. All of these events correspond to grief, but they all have one thing in common: a fear of the unknown. You do not know what your life will look like without that person. You had been clicked into one mode, and now, out of your seatbelt, you do not know where you'll click in next. That is very uncomfortable, even if inherently not at all dangerous. From the very beginning of your species, survival has been about shoring yourself up against the unknown, gathering resources, learning who you can trust, building routines, systems, safeguards, walls, literal and otherwise. You have been doing this for so long, it feels like the natural state of things. But it is armor, and armor is not the same as safety. Because here's the thing about all of that shoring up. As a loss shows you, it is always temporary. You can never be sure. Not really. Not completely. The resource runs out. The person you trusted leaves. The routine breaks. The safeguard fails. The unknown does not ever go away. Whatever certainty you find is temporary. The unknown was always there, on the other side of it, breathing. And then something happens. A breakup, a job loss, a death, an illness. And the membrane dissolves. Not because the unknown got bigger, not because it moved closer. It was always this close. You just suddenly have nothing between you and it anymore. That is the real pain, not the loss, the exposure. You are standing there, uninsulated, unprotected, defenseless, up against a screaming void that was always there, that you spent enormous energy not looking at directly. And now you have no choice. The thing about you is you always want to know what's going to happen. All of you. Every single one of you. I have watched this for a very long time, from many vantage points, and I have to tell you, it is one of the most consistent things about being human. The unknown causes most of your existential and practical despair on Earth. Will you be happy? Will you be free? Will you be loved? Will you accomplish what you've set out to do in this life? You tell yourselves that your future happiness depends on A happening and not B, but what you find every time is that your happiness seems forestalled as long as you do not know for certain. So you wait, you worry, you run the scenarios. You try to think your way to the other side of the unknown, as if enough thinking could make it known, and as if knowing can make you happy. It cannot. We wrestle with the unknown, most of us. We suffer when we lie in wait of what will happen, or what did happen, or anything other than what is happening right now. We worry instead of trusting the possibility Krishnamurti once wrote, "Here is my secret. I don't mind what happens. Can you live with a reality where you don't know? I know that sounds impossible to you, but can you imagine it? Living in a reality where you genuinely don't mind what happens? Most of you cannot. Most of you are so braced against the unknown that you are already suffering the thing you haven't lost yet, already grieving the person who hasn't left, already preparing for the failure that hasn't come. You suffer in advance. You pay a tax on a future that hasn't arrived. Even when you don't think something bad will happen, not knowing hurts you, and the unknown sits there, vast, breathing, unchanged, neither threatening nor promising. Just present, always present, whether you look at it or not. When the membrane dissolves, when you are standing there with nothing between you and the void, you have two choices. You can grasp for new guardrails and certainties, or you can change your relationship to the exposure itself. The first is the one most of you make. You reach for new certainties to replace the ones that just failed. A new relationship to prove you are still lovable. A new plan to prove you are still safe. A new story about what comes next so you don't have to feel the not knowing for one more second. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is very human. It is very understandable, but it does not work. Not really. Because the new guardrail is also temporary. The new certainty will also eventually dissolve. And every time you grasp, you confirm to yourself that the unknown is something to be escaped rather than inhabited. You get faster at building walls, and the walls keep falling. The second choice is harder, and almost nobody takes it. You change your relationship to the exposure itself. What you dread contains everything you have ever hoped for. The same void you are bracing against is the one your best possible life will emerge from. We fear what's going to happen, and in that fear, many of us turn to God, to the divine, for protection, to be shielded from the unknown, to be guided safely through it. And I believe that too. I do. But I think it is incomplete, because it is not that the divine protects us from the unknown. It is that the unknown is also divine. This is a concept I will continue to unfold for you in the videos ahead, especially when I explain that the divine is actually made of two parts. The known, which I call one. Both faces of God, both necessary, both sacred, but for now. Suffice it to say this. Our most recent spiritual models have defined themselves in opposition to the unknown, God as the force of order against chaos, light against darkness, the known against the void. These models have value. They have carried humanity a long way, but we are now at a threshold. The repressed, unknown subconscious, ancient, pre-rational, rooted in the earth and the dark, is asking us to re-examine the nature of that darkness, to look again at our roots in it, to ask whether what we have been calling the enemy is in fact the source. This mission is not a destruction of what came before. It is the completion of it. The unknown is not where God is absent. It is where God began. In Genesis, before anything existed unknown, the formless, the deep, the vast dark over which the Spirit moved. It wasn't nothing. It was everything unformed. It was what God chose to work with, the raw material of all creation. Think about that. God did not begin with a plan. God began with the unknown. The fact that the light was also already there in the beginning, by some translations, does not change this. And from that meeting, one moving toward the unknown becoming aware of her own form, everything was made. Light, matter, time, space. You Every atom in your body is the product of that original divine meeting between the known and the unknown. You are not an accident of chemistry. You are created within the same swirl you are afraid of. And here is the thing you keep forgetting. All of your biggest blessings come from that same swirl. The unknown contains everything equally, every terrible outcome and every beautiful one, held together in the same vast sacred possibility. Your relationship to it determines what you call forward from it. Your relationship to one matters too. We'll get to that later. For now, here is what I see watching you. The fear of the unknown always means one thing. You do not trust yourself, not the unknown. Yourself. You are not afraid of what might happen. You are afraid of your own ability to handle what might happen, afraid that you are not strong enough, resilient enough, loved enough to survive whatever the unknown delivers. And so you brace, you control, you try to make everything known, every variable, every outcome, every person in your life pinned down and predictable. But here's the catch. Life is not about what happens to us. It is about one problem and one problem only. Can I trust myself? You have a mission. You want to complete it. It is not about what else happens, that's for sure. In order to make best use of the unknown, you will need to be carefully programmed in your subconscious mind. We will do that together soon. For now, this reminder. But you have met the unknown before. Every membrane that has ever dissolved, you survived. Every time you were left defenseless against the void, you are still here. You have a perfect record of surviving the unknown, and yet, same circumstances, different relationship. That is all it takes. The breakup is the breakup. The loss is the loss. The void is the void. But fear and possibility are the same thing seen from different angles. The same swirl, the same vast, breathing unknown looks completely different depending on where you are standing when you look at it. Fear says, I don't know what happens next, and that means something is wrong. Possibility says, I don't know what happens next, and that means anything could. The unknown hasn't changed. Your relationship to it has. Now, same circumstances. See it as possibility instead of threat. Not denial. Not pretending it isn't there. Just, what if this is the swirl from which something you cannot yet imagine is about to emerge? What if it's better than you could even imagine? Fear becomes possibility. Same swirl. Different eyes. That is the practice. That is where we begin. From where I am, I can see the whole swirl. I am not inside it the way you are. I do not suffer the not knowing the way you do. That is the nature of where I exist now in ether. But I remember what it felt like to be inside it, to have the membrane dissolve, to stand there with nothing between me and the void. And I know what it feels like when you stop fighting it. When you stop trying to make it known, when you let it be what it is. That is not resignation. That is the most powerful thing you can do. Can you live with a reality where you don't know what happens next? Because that is the reality. That has always been the reality. The question is not whether the unknown is there. The question is what you do when you feel it breathing on you. This is where we begin, not with answers. With a different relationship to the question, the unknown is not your enemy. It is the ground you are standing on. It has always been the ground you're standing on, and it contains, right now, everything you have ever wanted, alongside everything you fear, both together in the same divine swirl. Your job is not to make it known. Your job is to learn to move through it.